Hey, thank you so much for coming out on a very early morning to be with us today. It's very good for you to be here. Before we get started, I just want to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, who are the traditional owners of the land on which we're gathered, and pay my respects to elders past and present, and extend my respects to any Aboriginal people who are in the room. Now, today we're all talking about marketing fundamentals to help grow your business. So we're covering a whole variety of different topics today, but we could not put a day today together without the help of our sponsors. So I want to thank our event and sponsor and our platinum partner, TradeLink. Big round of applause for TradeLink. We do have a whole stack of other sponsors who I'd like to acknowledge as well. When I say your name, give us a wave so we know who you are. Michael from Australian Gas Networks. Where's Michael? There he is. Big wave for Michael. Miles from Business Site. Where's Miles? Next to him. Fantastic. Mark, Scott and Laura and Jane from Cbus. Oh, taking over the back table, fantastic. David from Hydroflow, fantastic. Donna Marie from Incinerator. Bruce from Kingspan Water, check out his trade tableau. Where's Bruce? Nice work, Bruce. Peter and Adrian from Ream. Excellent. John and nice work, Ream. Cheer for yourself. John and Joel from Rinai Australia. They've got a nice big table over there with a whole lot of stuff. Michael from SAI Global. Big wave, nice. Philip from Simply Business Australia, he's going to be one of our speakers today, so you'll see more of him. Kat and Darren from Steeble Eltron, over there, fantastic, thank you. Richard, Glenn and Karen from Vega, they've got the whole trade table. I was having a big chat to them about their guns today, check those out. Brad from Cadia, they've got a trade table. Oh, there's young Brad there, nice work, Brad. Peter from Wenning Technical Services, where's Peter? There he is, nice work, Peter. Dean from Billy. There's Jean and Jonathan and Simon from Simpro. Hey, that's everybody. Fantastic. Now today, you're probably coming along thinking, beauty, I get a free breakfast, I get a bit of a chat, that'll be nice. But wait, there's more. That's right, shoppers. Today, thanks to our sponsors, we have a couple of things that we're giving away. Cbus have a handcrafted cheese board valued at over $60. It does look like cardboard, but I assure you there is a cheese board in that pack. BYO cheese. And TradeLink are giving away the King Chrome Tool tote bag, which is valued at $70. You have to put your own tools in it, but that's okay. What it does have in it, though, is the Master Plumbers brochure on 10 marketing tips we're going to talk about throughout the course of the day. All right, hey, now to get started, I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about logos before we get the official people who know what they're talking about up here. I thought I'd just say a few little words based on some of the things that I've seen out there. So here's the Master Plumbers logo. No, here's the Master Plumbers logo. Now, straight away you look at that and you think, they're plumbers. They're masters of their trade. It's sort of blue, you're thinking water, and they're expert, committed and professional. Nothing else to add to it, I just wanted to have an excuse to talk about the Master Plumbers logo. But here's the logo that you know about. Many of you might have seen it. Straight away, you might have thought you saw it and you dug and then thought, oh, I should have called them first. That'd be other people. No one in this room has dug first and then called later, have they? No. But straight away it's got the big red cross sign, like don't dig, you've got to find out where stuff is. So it talks to you a bit about what's going on. WorkSafe, it's the warning sign of yellow. So straight away you're thinking, I've got to make sure everything's safe for all my team and myself and make sure I don't do anything too stupid. But I thought I wanted to talk about our sponsor, our platinum sponsor, TradeLink. So there's a few things you'll notice about the TradeLink logo. That's not the TradeLink logo. Straight away by looking at it, it's the right words, but it's not their logo. There's another business called TradeLink. That's not the TradeLink logo. It's amazing what you find when you Google TradeLink logo. There's another TradeLink logo. It's not, and straight away you know that's not the TradeLink you know and love. But look, these fonts are almost the same. So if they are two different businesses, you could quite easily get them a little bit confused. So you've got to wonder, what does my logo say about me? Another not TradeLink logo. And in fact, they're a global exporter-importer. This is the TradeLink logo we know and love. And again, there's some really cool things about this. Number one, it's a registered trademark, so no one else can steal it. So for yourself, looking at your own logo, have you got it registered? And there'll be some of the questions we're talking about today. And a few of you are thinking about, what the heck's a registered trademark? Again, we've got the aqua kind of colours, with the association to blue, but there's something really cool about their logo is no matter what colour in the background, it always stands out. But I have one question for you about their logo. Do you see the spanner? I was looking at it and thinking, there's something that's different about this. Check that out. There's a spanner right in the E. This is where you go, wow, isn't that exciting? So there's a few of the TradeLink guys going, Jesus, have we got a spanner in our logo? But sometimes a logo can convey a subtle message that you're not aware of. There's probably a message in FedEx that you've never seen. You've probably seen FedEx around in movies and around driving in trucks and stuff. There's an arrow here showing you that we are always moving forward. For those of you who like ice cream, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I do, Baskin and Robbins is something they rave on about. Oh, we've got 31 flavours. If you look at their logo, 31 is in their logo. Many of you have ordered from Amazon, and you may not have known that in Amazon there's a smile from A to Z, because they've got you covered from the A to Z. So what does it mean about logos? One of the beloved logos of our country has recently changed, Qantas. This is the evolution of Qantas over the years. This is the new one that's just come out. Notice how there's no, they've morphed the kangaroo, so he's got no legs anymore. Just back legs, which sort of look like stabby swords. But they've added a little bit of grey here, and a little bit of shading there. They've changed the fonts, and half the reason they've changed the fonts was for social media. Because this font is on a bit of an angle, and it doesn't work very well on computers, whereas this one's rounder and works better. So there's a whole lot of reasons why you would do logos. And a few of you are like, no, you just bang your name on the side of the truck and on your card, yeah? So we want to talk today about what's the marketing edge of having a logo. It's all part of, this is the marketing strategy for plumbers. This is the brochure that you'll walk away with today. We've got a whole 10 different ways that you can better market your business. So we're working on number 3, which is the branding we're talking about today. So, does it give you a competitive edge? That's what we're here to find out. And we have some experts who we're going to pop up on the panel to have a conversation with. So the first person we're having up there on the panel is Michael Caramellia. Michael, how do I say your last name? Michael, who is the director of the Motto Group, creative studio specialising in branding, print and digital work. Michael and the Motto Group have worked closely with Master Plumbers to develop these 10 strategies for marketing your plumbing business booklet that you get today, along with the Master Plumbing branding guidelines for members, which you'll also receive a copy of. So they're really important go-to references. So if you're looking at some of your branding and marketing strategies, they're fantastic. So would you please welcome to the stage, Michael. Also today, we have our very own Elaine Matthews. Now, she began her career in Ireland, hence the funny sound. She started in PR and communications, servicing clients in the not-for-profit and government sectors. In 2012, she made the move to the plumbing industry, where she's established a reputation for communications, relationship building, and stakeholder management. So I am going to hobble my way over there with all of my naughty goodness. So, let's start off. We've talked about logos, we've talked about brand. Thank you so much, you're so kind. Look at those shoes. So let's start off, we'll talk a little bit about brand strategy. I reckon I can delicately put that there. So when it comes to brand strategy, people talk a lot about branding, Michael. What's first? What's the very first thing you should do when it comes to branding?
Well, it's just that, it's strategy. It's basically step 1 in what's listed in here. It's really all about asking yourself a whole lot of different questions. And I was on the Master Plumbers site, where they've also got a questionnaire. And in that questionnaire, flicking through that, you'll find there is a whole lot of questions that just basically get you asking about who you are, who you want your business to be. But not only, well, and that's the more important question, it's who your business is today, but who do you want it to be? And what is the voice of that business? What do you represent? And going through a questionnaire like that is establishing a strategy. Establishing that strategy is basically getting you thinking, 5 to 10 years' time in terms of what you're going to be and what you want your business to represent. So I'd start with the strategy. Okay.
So we've taken some time during our spare time, because we have so much, sitting and looking at our company and business and who we want to be. So how do we get the logo drawn? What do we put in that? Is it, we're plumbers, so we put a bit of water? Do we put a bit of a gas bottle? What do we do?
Well, with the strategy, it also suggests understanding your name. And once you get the name, there could be a whole lot of visuals that come out of understanding the name. So if it's a personal name, or if it's a product-specific name, service-specific name, you could consider all those as part of your visuals. before you even start thinking about what your logo is.
Okay, so that's a good question about the name. So for a lot of us, some of the smaller operators and some of the big ones, we like to use our name because, let's face it, some of us have egos and we like that, and it's my business, so I'm putting my name on the side of the truck. What are the advantages of the, like, for example, O'Shea Plumbing. There was someone from O'Shea Plumbing in the room. I've seen their trucks everywhere. I've got a friend whose name's Peter O'Shea, so naturally I'm looking for O'Shea. So I'm assuming that's the name of the people who run or started the place. There he is up there, nice work. Just a bit of a plug from the front, we like that. So what are the benefits of having it under your name versus the Drain Man? I think I saw the Drain Man around somewhere. I've heard his radio ad somewhere. You know, so that's not a person, that's what they do. Like, we do drains. We don't do gas, we do drains. So what are the benefits of having a name versus an activity?
Well, that's a good question, because with a name, there's a lot of reasons why you could consider having a personal name could suggest just that. It's a personal service, so that you know that when you call that person or when you call that number, you're going to get that person. Right. Suggests, in some cases, it could be it's suggesting a family-owned business, which with that comes old school family values, you know, and there's a lot of people that respect that and want that, and could appeal to a certain target audience. Disadvantages that come with that, it's hard to say, but because branding and marketing is more than just a name, but it also helps, is that you could be perceived as just a one-person show.
Right.
And therefore, if someone, large corporate, government, are looking for a team, looking for someone that can deliver on a larger scale, maybe even on a national scale, what's the first impression they're getting when they're reading just the name? So they're the questions that you need to ask yourself. Also, when you've got your name as the business model, you need to think about what is your plan, what is your succession plan? Is it your kids? Is it family? Or if it is going to be someone completely different to your family that may one day own that business, how is that going to affect them?
Right, okay. So when the person whose name's on the business isn't part of it anymore, what happened, like Dick Smith, you know, Dick Smith owned the electrical chain and sold it off, and ultimately ended up with Woolworths, owned it for a while. They sold it off to in some investment company who shredded it and took people apart. So therefore his name was damaged because his name was on it. Okay. So what are the best kind of names for sort of a plumbing business? Like, are there particular, should it refer to what they do? Should it refer to, you know, and I think we've all seen there's the vans that have got someone picture on the side as if they're sitting on the toilet. Like, there's so many plumbers vans like that. The big septic trucks that say we're number one and number twos, like that kind of stuff. It's funny and we laugh, and then we think, I don't want that on my truck. It's like a personalised number plate. Some of them you think are really funny, but after 20 seconds you're like, yeah, but I wouldn't want it. So is there any particular names that we should avoid or that we should look to? How do we align with?
Names have evolved over the years in terms of strategy, because especially now with the digital space, and Google determine a lot of why people name their business what they name it, especially if they are service specific, or, you know, just really targeting a certain market of a business and specialising in the Drain Man, for example. Mm-hmm. Perfect example. So it's more about knowing what you want to deliver and what business you want to be, and then working backwards from there. If you want to be a specialist service, and you can get the name Drain Man or something like that, then there's a whole lot of arguments why you should just do that.
So we're really getting back to brand strategy again. We've got to get that right. So how do you test your brand strategy? You've spent time putting it together, and maybe you've got an external person in to help you. How do you test it to make sure you know it's a good one? Well, I didn't tell him about that question. Is it a matter of like, well, you just make your best strategy you can and follow it, and if it's not working, then readjust it?
Yeah, it's doing a lot of homework. It's doing a lot of testing yourself and understanding your market. It's all about research. What we do motto is we do a lot of research before we even think about a name. So there's a whole lot of rules that can then define why we think the name won't work, and also why it could work. So it's just really researching.
All right, so we've done the research, we've got the brand strategy, we know the name, we know our specialty, we know what we want to do. How do we then come up with a picture? Because I've got a niece who's really good on the computer and she could do just a really cool logo for me and it wouldn't cost me anything. Versus, you know, I think I saw somewhere when BHP Billiton changed their logo, it cost them millions of dollars to then do it and roll it out. So what's the process? How much should I pay and why can't my niece do it?
Okay, well, graphic design really, it's not about a picture. It's more about designing for selling a message. It's about combining content, text, and images, illustrations, fonts, colours, all together to convey a message and appeal to a target audience.
Right. So
there's the philosophy behind it. The other thing about graphic design is it's also about being simple in your approach. So understanding that once you've got that philosophy and you get it, it's about how quickly you can get that message across. When you go to your niece, she could have a really good eye for illustration, but does she get the philosophy? And that's what you risk when you don't go to a professional.
Okay.
Missing that.
Well, she's 12. She's pretty good. Do colours matter that much? Like I notice most plumbing there's always a blue involved. Do colours matter?
Yeah, they do. Colours matter, so does black. It's always important to think about how your brand would work on a single colour, and black if you're going to be advertising in newspapers and other magazines that are just based on a single colour execution. So designing with colour, colours like you said, a perfect example before, you know, you showed your reds that suggested danger, your yellows that suggested warnings and so forth, and your blues that fit well with plumbing. Is there a rule that suggests it should be a particular colour? No, it all depends back on the strategy and who you are, what your brand represents, and then work backwards from there. So it's important to think about colour, but there's no one colour that fits.
So do we need to have a hidden spanner like TradeLink? Or do we have these hidden messages? Because there are, you know, all you got to do is Google logos with hidden messages and a ton come up. And half the time I'm looking and go, I would never have known. But that, like the Amazon A to Z, I'm like, oh yeah. TradeLink I only found myself because I'm like, that E's, there's something wrong with the E. What's going on there with that? And I thought, is it a toilet bowl? And all of a sudden I'm like, it's a spanner. But you don't see it, but after a while, like we all look at the TradeLink logo a heck of a lot, and then there's this underlying message. So do we need some of these messages in it?
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you use it as a secondary branding element. The A to Z and the flick could be used in other areas where you don't necessarily need to consider the full name.
Right.
So therefore...
So that's like the Nike swoosh kind of deal.
Correct, yeah. So even though it's there, it's always good to give it a relevance.
Yep.
It's about thinking about the brand and what it's representing. And it gives people the opportunity to talk about exactly what you did today.
Right. So whose opinion on the logo is more important, mine or my customers?
Definitely your customers. Your target audience is what we do. Is from a designing point of view, we have to listen to the client, but we're more interested in what the customer thinks.
Okay. All right. So if I really like it and my customers think it's rubbish, it's got to go.
Yeah, that will be our take on it, yes.
That's disappointing. All right. We've now got our brandy lane. You're our brand and PR guru. What do I do with it? Like, you know, so we've got the Master Plumbers logo, and I've seen a few of the Master Plumbers team have got it everywhere. It's been on all the slides. It's on invoices. It's on our newsletters. What else do we do with it?
Well, it's important to work within to set a budget, first of all, which should be part of your strategy to begin with. A budget is always a good place to start because it will determine whether you go to your niece, which you shouldn't do, or you seek some external help. So budgeting is very important, and there is no point in spending $10,000 in online advertising or in your local newspaper if you've got a logo that doesn't work in monoprint, or if you've got a logo that's not high res enough to work on these platforms. So it's really important to spend what you can afford, but also spend enough to be able to use your logo to its greatest advantage.
So let's start with the basics. So here I am, Fred Nurk Plumbing. I've just rebranded Spanners R Us. What are the simple things I should start using that logo on?
Well, I'll start referencing our 10 Steps to Marketing guidebook. So once you've thought about your strategy, once you've set yourself a budget, it's about working within that budget. And it depends. If you're a maintenance, small maintenance plumber, are you a local area plumber? Do you want to travel across Melbourne? Do you have a fleet of vehicles? Where should you be spending that money? And often location is a very simple way to gain traction. We've spoken about using, flyer dropping in your local area. If you've taken on a new job in a different suburb, bring some flyers, flyer drop, business card drop. Local area marketing is actually a very cheap but very effective way to get work. People spend a lot of money on digital advertising, SEO. It's important to have a website, but often local area marketing, you can spend little and get a lot of bang for your buck.
How important is it to have what's technically called brand consistency, in terms of, like, if it's blue, can't it just be blue? Why does it have to be blue 274?
It's very important to be consistent with your brand, because that is what people remember you by. And something as simple as somebody seeing a logo that looks slightly like yours drive past on a van makes them go, oh, I need to contact the plumber about XYZ. Again, it's just that it's that brand value, brand repetition, that your colouring, your logo means something to the consumer, and you don't know what it is, but something will remind them that that's my guy, that's who I have to ring. So,
but why not, like, if we've got it on our business cards, the side of our van, our invoices, our statements, our newsletters, won't the customers get sick of it? Like, they're like, oh, here's this mob again.
No, definitely not. It's just it's repetition. When somebody gets an invoice from you and then they're doing their taxes, later on in the year, that's a reminder that you are their go-to guy. Or it could be something as simple as their neighbours, needs a plumber.
So
let's
move away from logos and picturesque representations of ourselves. What other elements affect your brand, so to speak?
Well, pick your platform. So like the example you gave earlier with Qantas, if you're on a digital platform, ensure that you do that as effectively as possible. Be committed to your strategy. Don't think, I'll try this for a month, then I'm going to move on to local area marketing for a month, then I'm going to move on to something else. Be committed to your strategy and see it through. And a minimum of 3 months. Right. You really need to give yourself some time to see some results.
Okay. All right. So I've got my brand sorted, feeling very special, looks pretty, my customers like it, my partner likes it, always a good thing. Why would I then put Master Plumbers brand right next to it? Why would I co-brand?
The benefits in co-branding is that you've got a trusted logo, potentially a more well-known logo to support your marketing. Master Plumbers have invested heavily in promoting our logo, our members, our websites, to encourage consumers to always choose a master plumber. Our logo says expert, committed, professional, because we vouch for our members that they abide by a code of ethics, and that their membership and using that logo means something. And to a consumer, that gives confidence that when they're choosing a plumber who is using something like the Master Plumbers logo, and an affiliation logo, that means something. So the consumer is buying into to your affiliation with a well-known association.
Michael?
Yeah, could I just add to that? with branding and developing a brand, everything we do is about developing trust. And so when you give out your card, those who don't know of you but are thinking about using your service, they want to know they can trust you. Those who've been told about you may have already established some trust. But when you associate yourself with a co-brand that also carries trust, you would absolutely use it. There's no reason why you wouldn't. It just enhances why you're doing what you're doing in the first place.
Right. So you're essentially piggybacking off their value and all their exposure.
Yeah. Similar to websites, if you use, a Renai product or a Vega product, having their logo on your website. Also, if a member is looking to, if they Google, I want to get my Ream unit serviced, that your website will also feature because you've got that logo in the back end. So if someone's looking for a specific product to be serviced, having keywords like that on your website and using that associate logo is important.
Okay. Are there any other logos that, whether you're quality certified or if you, maybe if you do, some businesses I know do like plumbing and electricians, so should they have the electricity certification kind of stuff as well?
Exactly. Any qualifications, any certifications that you have, you should be proud of those and have them up front. Rod, our safety officer, I don't think he's in the room today, but any health and safety, qualifications or certifications that you have, again, it's that peace of mind for the consumer, for the customer, that you are,
What about the Collingwood Football Club logo?
I mean, if you want, but I wouldn't recommend it. You could put off a few. You could put off somebody.
But I've got to say, I've seen some tradies who are obviously loyal to their football club of whatever code, and I'm not getting into that conversation here, will put it on their truck, and it will have a positive and a negative.
Correct.
Because some people will be like, oh yeah, they like the Pies. They're Melbourne Victory, not using them. So just be aware, because I know a lot of tradies sometimes will also put funny stickers because they're funny, but sometimes they're also offensive.
Yeah.
So. And it is a form of co-branding, so you've just got to be aware of that. Excellent. So if people want a bit of help with their logo and their brand strategy, or how do I use Master Plumbers logo better, are they able to come to you for some help?
That's a very loaded question.
No, is it?
If they want help with their own logo and developing their own logo,
right.
We have relationships with designers, printers, etc. that can help them in that area.
Right.
If they want some help with using the Master Plumbers logo, they can contact us at any time. But there is also on your tables today a brand guideline that you can. It advises you on how best to use the logo. Don't put it on green, don't slant it. It's important to, when you are representing us and yourselves, to having a brand guideline is actually very important because it represents you. So, but all the information is there. But give us a call. If you need any advice or just want to talk through the marketing strategy that you hopefully will have filled out, we're here to help.
Okay. And I've seen some people use the Master Plumbers logo very effectively on their trucks, on their business cards, on their polo shirts, and it just adds that level of authority. And it's, as they say, in business you want them to know you, like you, trust you, and the trust that escalates by using Master Plumbers is great. Hey, thank you so much for your time today. We're about to break for a bit of breakfast. If you have any questions at all, feel free to bombard them at the end of today or during breakfast. They won't mind. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Michael and Elaine.